Type 2 diabetes, setting goals. Very important. Um, Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a diabetic expert I haven't been trained in anything. The only thing I am good at is my own personal diabetes. And so anything you hear on this podcast or any other podcast, make sure that you meet with your medical team before you make any changes. And this is just my opinion on how I reversed my diabetes from 11.1 to 5.2 in 18 months. So this is what I learned along the way. Setting goals. Now, I am ridiculously passionate about setting goals in life in general, right? I'm 100% goal oriented. I don't want to be. I want to be able to just live my life like normal people, but that's just not how I roll. So I need a flag out there at all times. And I'm not 100% sure that's healthy. At times it's really worked for me, and at other times it's a little bit frustrating. But I've been really good and bad at this over the years. I've set unrealistic running goals. I'm going to run a marathon in under 3 hours, right? I wasn't built to do that. I didn't have the dedication. I failed miserably. I've set ridiculous weight loss goals. I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 3 months. Not realistic. Work goals. I'm going to run the company within a year. And I didn't run the company. But I've also set some really good ones. So when it came to diabetes and setting a goal, which I set a goal very early on in diagnosis, day 2. When I found out that I had diabetes, it was on a Monday. And on Tuesday, I met with my doctor and they explained what we were going to do as far as the medications go, and gave me some advice and things like that. But the big thing was that I didn't like the medicine. So what did I set my goal on? I was on 4 metformin a day and a Jardiance every single day. So I said, okay, my goal then is in 1 year from now, you will cancel all my medications. And they looked at me like I was crazy, right? But I'm like, if I don't have that goal, now did I know how to achieve the goal? No, I didn't. I didn't even really know what I was in for yet, right? I was just getting started. But I knew that I didn't want to take medicine. And I already found out that reversing diabetes, in order to be in remission, that means you're not taking any medicine, right? So in remission, below pre-diabetic, whatever, with medication, you're still taking the medication. So for me personally, it was important to get rid of that. All right. Now, if you do any sort of research on setting goals, which I have done a lot, you're going to run into the SMART method, and it's really good, right? It's an acronym. S stands for specific, A stands for attainable, R stands for relevant, T stands for time, and I know I missed one. Measurable. M stands for measurable. So SMART. Specific, not vague. Like, if your goal is, hey, I'm going to lose some weight, right? The word some in there is already wrong, right? That means your goal is already wrong. So if you say, hey, I'm going to try to lose some weight, that's not a goal. That's a want. A goal is, I'm going to lose 25 pounds and I'm going to take 9 months to do it, right? Still pretty aggressive goal, but at least there's a time frame on it, and you can start having measurable um, milestones along that. But you need to set specific goals, right? So my specific goal for type 2 diabetes was to be med free in 1 year. Okay. Measurable. It needs to be measurable. It can't be like your goal cannot be I want to feel happier. Like, that's not really a goal. That's just something that you need to do. It has to be measurable. Now, if you're a type 2 diabetic like I am, there's very measurable, because every 3 months they're hooking you up, taking your blood out, and telling you what your A1C is, right? Everything's measurable. I have a constant glucose monitor on, constantly measuring my success, right? So type 2 diabetes and goals go really good together because it is highly, highly measurable. Attainable. It's the hardest one, right? When setting goals, that is the hardest part, is setting something that is attainable. You don't want it to be too hard, because then you'll have failure and you give up. You also don't want it to be too easy because then it's not really a goal, right? If you say, in the next year, I'm going to lose 5 pounds, right? Okay. I mean, you might achieve that in 3 weeks. So the goal might be, I'm going to lose some weight and then I'm going to keep it off. But you want to kind of finding that sweet spot. Now, getting off all my meds in a year, I knew that a year is a long time, right? And I knew that that was attainable. And I knew in the back of my mind, maybe I could get off it early, but I was okay with it taking a full year, which it took exactly a full year. I have it up here. I think it was August 13th. So July 31st to August 13th of next year, that's when I had my appointment. That's when they canceled all my meds. But it was attainable. My medical staff was like, oh, okay. But I knew it was attainable. Relevant. Your goal has to be important to you. It has to be really important to you. It can't be someone else's goal for you, right? You have to personally set this goal for yourself and have the reasons behind it. I wanted to be healthy. I did not want to take medication. My goal was ridiculously relevant to me. And time. How long are you giving yourself? Too long, and you won't feel the urgency, right? So I'm going to lose 10 pounds within the next year. You really don't have to start working on that till like month 10 or right? You can put it off too long. Too short a time period, and again, you get into that failure thing. So it's really, really hard to set these goals and then achieve them without being too fast. Like I'm going to reverse my diabetes in 2 months. No, you're not. You're not even getting tested for 3 months. So that's not an attainable goal. But you also have to be a little bit flexible. So your goal may change completely. What you set up today as your goal may change. One of the most important things you also read is write it down, right? So I had written down in a notebook, no meds 1 year. Every time I got a little piece of paper telling me when my next appointment was, I wrote down what the goal was, right? Um, and I think you have to write it down, put it somewhere you're going to see, whether or not it's on your phone, like you can make your home screen, right? What your goal is. You can write it in a book, but something that you're going to see. I think it's important to see write down your goals. Like the goal I have for this podcast is written in this little book that I have. In the beginning of it, I just wrote out using the SMART method. What is the goal for this podcast? And not how I'm going to achieve it, but I went through every single one has a sticky note on, why it's specific, the time, all that kind of stuff. The hardest, and then tell the world, right? So one of the things that you need to do once you have a goal is to let other people in on it and to tell them, right? What is your specific goal? And it's hard to do. When I told people like my sister who's in medicine and my brother-in-law, hey, I'm going to reverse my diabetes and get off the medicine in 1 year. They're like, oh, okay. They knew the odds, right? They knew that only 6% of type 2 diabetics actually get to remission and only 1.6% of them stay in remission over the next 5 years. Like these people understand these things. But I told everyone, I told them what the goal was. That gave me, right? It was about accountability, but what it really gave me was permission to do everything I needed to do to reach that goal because they knew why I was so restrictive. They knew why it was so important to me. And they ended up supporting me instead of being like, why is he so weird about food? Well, because I have type 2 diabetes and I want to get off of it, right? Okay. Mistakes people make. Don't spend all your time planning out the actions. So when I said I'm going to get off of all these medicines and I'm going to reverse my type 2 diabetes and they're going to cancel all my prescriptions within 1 year, I knew not one way to do that, right? There was 75,000 roads I could have gone down, but I didn't know how to achieve it. But what I did have was an unwavering belief that I could do it. This comes back to the law of attraction, which I'm a big fan of, the power of positive thinking. If you've ever seen The Secret, but basically it's unwavering belief that I would absolutely accomplish this. And by having unwavering belief, all my actions over the next 12 months led to what the goal was. Even though I didn't know what the path was, I just knew I could do it, right? I never gave up on that. So everything that I tweaked over that 12 months led me to what the goal was. And it was I won't lie to you, it was a little bit emotional. I came out of those doctor's office with, I don't have any more meds. And I went out to my truck and I cried because I was pretty proud of myself. I'm not very proud of myself very often, but I was for that. And I was like thinking back over the 12 months and all the things that I had done and all the work that I put in. And, but a lot of the best ideas and goals die in the planning stage. So what happens is you set a goal. So you're like, okay, I'm going to set a goal to reverse my type 2 diabetes in a year. Awesome. Now just go do the damn thing. What most people do is they're like, okay, so month one, I'm going to do this. Month two, I'm going to do that. And they have all these strict, um, they lay out the plans, even though they don't know what the hell they're talking about. You lay out all these different processes, and then you have failures along the way. Now, I'm not saying that just believing is enough. It is not. You have to have the drive to do it. But it's really important to not get so stuck on a path that you let it ruin your ability to get to that goal, right? You say, hey, I'm never going to eat a carb again. It's not realistic, right? It's not. You just can't do that. But I'm going to limit my carbs. Okay. I'm going to work out and I'm going to keep working out until I find that perfect mix. Okay. That's a good goal. But everything you're going to do is going to lead you to that part of it, right? Setting mini goals. Absolutely. Right. I definitely set some mini goals. And here's how the broke down my process worked. Right. I had goal one for me when I first got diagnosed was I also had some cancer in my chest. It's gone. They took it out with a robot, which is weird. It's really expensive. But my first goal, my surgeon that wanted to take this cancer out of my chest said, hey, listen, you're at 11.1 A1C. I can't operate on you. Yes, you probably have cancer in your chest. We don't know what kind, but we can't do surgery to see what kind of cancer it is and to get it out of you until you get your A1C below 9. I'm at 11.1. I'm like, okay. Well, my mini goal for sure was to get under 9 as fast as possible so I could schedule the surgery and get the stupid cancer out of my chest. I didn't want to have cancer in my chest. It's weird. I went from 11.1 to 6.4 in 3 months. Very drastic. But I also eliminated a bunch of the stupid things I was doing that were causing my A1C to be so high. So I got under 9. Awesome. That was a big day. Got the surgery. Sweet. Next goal. And these are all in 3-month increments because that's when we get our A1C check. So they were good flags to put out there. At 6 months, I wanted to lose half of my metformin. So I made a deal with my doctor. I was at a 6.4 and I said, listen, I come back in January. If my A1C is below 5.4, I believe, I didn't know what I was talking about, but I said, if my A1C is below 5.4, I want to lose half the metformin because my ultimate goal is to not have any medicine. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. I come in January, my A1C is 5.1. She's like, okay. Half your metformin is gone. I'm like, sweet. I'm starting. That's a mini goal. It's a big deal for me, right? So I'm down to 2 metformin a day and a Jardiance. I'm like, awesome. Next goal, I'm going to be back in 3 months because we check my A1C every 3 months, right? I said, next time, if I'm below 5, still below 5.4, because 5.7 and above is pre-diabetic. I said, I'm never going to get into that pre-diabetic level again. But if I'm still below, I'm at 5.1 now. If I'm still below 5.4, we're going to lose the Jardiance. I don't like the Jardiance. It makes me have low blood pressure. Just not a fan. I didn't like Jardiance at all. Just make you pee a bunch. And it works. Don't get me wrong. But come back in 3 months, and my A1C is 5.2 with half the metformin gone. They're pretty excited. And they're like, yeah, I'm guessing you want to get rid of the Jardiance. I'm like, oh, we getting rid of the Jardiance. So we're done with Jardiance at that point. So now we're 3 months away from the ultimate goal, which is you telling me I don't need to take medicine anymore, right? I said, if I come in August and my A1C is below 5.4, we are canceling the metformin and we're going for med-free remission, right? Came in 5.1. I think it went back down to 5.1. It got real serious, started intermittent fasting and really got good at it. So yeah, August 13th, no more meds. Now I got a new goal. Stay below 5.4 A1C for the rest of my life. That's a big goal. There's no flag out there. It just keeps moving every single day, every single test. It's still out there. And I'm currently at 5.2 with no meds, 6 months, no medication. Good for me. But again, the ultimate goal was to get off the medicine. Now, as soon as that's achieved, you have to set another goal for me. I changed so many different things along the way. Everything I thought I knew when I first started was completely wrong. I didn't know how I could achieve it, but I knew I could and would achieve it, right? Do your own research on goal setting. What is your goal? It doesn't have to be the same as mine, right? It doesn't have to be, I'm going to get off this medication in a year. It might take you 3 to 4 years to get to that point. It's okay. But you should be planting your flag, and you should be having those mini goals where I'm going to work out for 30 days straight, or whatever you need to be better at this, you should probably set a goal for and then achieve it. Do the damn thing. I hope your A1C is down. I hope you have an awesome day. Thank you.